Hello, everybody. Josh here, and welcome back to another episode of your AEW Dynamite post-show review. This time for October 1st, 2025. I will be going over everything. If you are new here, then welcome to the AEW Dynamite post-show reviews for the weekly shows. If you are returning, you know how this goes. I will go over all the match results, all the coverage, all that good stuff. So welcome in to the live, because I am also live on TikTok as well right now. So I got this going on. I got the TikTok live chat as well. So my eyes are just going to be everywhere. But yeah, we're going to be talking about AEW Dynamite, the 6-year anniversary of AEW Dynamite. I can't believe it's been 6 years already since AEW has begun. But yeah, that's my blind just flying across the camera. So we're going to fix that. Um, But yeah, we're going to get straight into it. Before we do, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. If you're not already, hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews that come to the channel, including my interview with Brittany Brooks that is up on YouTube and Spotify. Make sure you go ahead and check that out. We had a great 35-minute conversation, so make sure you guys go check out that interview. If that is something that interests you, make sure you check out the Kayfabe Central Ko-Fi page. It's $5 minimum to subscribe to the exclusive wrestling content tier. So if you are able to do that, that will be greatly appreciated. I always post my predictions for shows. Whatever the case may be, I'll post it on there. Sometimes I'll post like exclusive podcasts, exclusive videos, early access videos and podcasts, which I'm going to be doing more frequently at some point in time. But yeah, we are gonna get straight into AEW Dynamite, the 6-year anniversary. We kicked off the night with a trios match. It was Brodito. My thing is blocked here for some reason. It was Brodito and Kenny Omega defeating Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks. A pretty good match. This was a pretty solid match on both ends. And yeah, I mean that's what you're gonna expect, right? With guys like this in a match like this. Um, Good match from both teams. But like I mentioned, in the end, Brodito came out with the victory. After the match is what's most important, though, because Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, and Jack Perry came out to confront the Young Bucks. They then ended up brawling, and they fought off into the crowd. Kenny Omega then cut a promo. He pretty much just thanked the fans for being there for 6 years of AEW Dynamite. He thanked all the new fans that came in after that. And if it's your first show, he's thanking all the fans as well. So yeah, Kenny Omega was just thanking the fans. Then the lights went out after Kenny Omega finishes promo. And then when the lights came back on, somebody in a mask was standing there, and the mask came off, and it happened to be Andrade. Andrade has returned to AEW. This is something I didn't expect, because I don't even think there were rumors about him returning to AEW. Like, if anything, there were more talks about, like, he wouldn't be allowed to go back to AEW. But there was multiple reports from Fightful that he didn't burn any bridges there in AEW. Yeah, he didn't leave on the best terms, but he's back in AEW, and he has aligned himself with the Don Callis family. We saw Don Callis assist Andrade, and Andrade attack Kenny Omega once he returned. So the Don Callis family just keeps getting bigger, and yeah, and they added another member a little bit later on, which we're gonna get into as well. So yeah, the Don Callis family is just growing and growing. Um, we then, after that, we had a backstage thing where Mark Briscoe just talked about defeating MJF at All Out, and how he's focused on his future goals of being a champion of any kind. So yeah, Mark Briscoe just cuts a really hype promo like he usually does. There wasn't anything too much about this promo. It was just Mark Briscoe, and everybody loves Mark Briscoe, so why not? We then had the what? The TNT Championship match. Kyle Fletcher defeated Orange Cassidy by pinfall to retain the TNT title with some help from Hologram's clone, who is named what was it, El Clone or something like that. It was something along those lines. I can't remember the name right now, but I remember them saying, "Oh, that's Hologram's clone, what we've been talking about." Even though I have no idea, unless this is something that has been brought up on Collision, then that would make more sense why I don't know, because I don't watch Collision. The only times is if like it's a live episode. Other than that, I don't watch it. Um, but yeah, another member added to the Don Callis family, like I just mentioned. In terms of the match itself, I didn't get the chance to pay too much attention to this match because I was still busy editing like my reaction to Andrade returning, putting out reports, all that stuff. So I didn't get to pay too much attention to this match. But the moments that I did see, I saw the ending of this match. It looked like a pretty good match. Um, I don't know if like it's gonna be a match where I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should go back and watch it. It just seemed like they put on a pretty good match, and that was it. It was what happened after the match that mattered. After that, we had a backstage segment. Mercedes Monet was with Renee Paquette and told her that she's going to defend her TBS championship next week on Title Tuesday against a Florida native. Didn't name who it was, but just said it was going to be a Florida native. She wants to defend her title. She wants to eventually get to 10 belts. That is where she brought up the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships, which then prompted Harley Cameron to interrupt the interview. Harley Cameron, just being her joyful, hilarious self, just came in and was like, you know, I can be your tag partner. And Mercedes Moné was not having it. She did not want Harley Cameron to be her tag team partner. And she pretty much just said no. So that was that. But I feel like we're eventually going to get to that. We're going to get to Mercedes Moné and Harley Cameron teaming together, and it's just going to be like an opposites attract thing, sort of like a Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. That's the closest comparison I can think of. But yeah, we had that. We then had a trios match. Hangman Adam Page and the Ops, Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs defeated Jon Moxley, Daniel Garcia, and Claudio Castagnoli of the Death Riders. Fun match, as I expected. Again, once again, as I expected. I'm like losing track of all my words. But yeah, this was a fun match, good match. All 6 guys in this match are talented. After the match, however, Hangman Adam Page and Samoa Joe got into an altercation. Now, I guess I missed what the altercation was about, because commentary were talking about how it was Hangman tagging himself in, but then Hangman Adam Page in his interview a little bit later on was talking about how he was handing the title to Samoa Joe and he dropped the title, and that's why Samoa Joe got mad. I have no idea what happened, but they got into an altercation. And then, you know, I think it was Samoa Joe who threw a punch as well. Security came out, they separated them. So yeah, that it just came out of nowhere. But you know what? I'm perfectly okay with this because it's a different way to get to a match, right? It's not like your that is a fantastic profile picture and username, by the way. that is fantastic. Um but yeah, this is a unique and cool way to just to get to a rivalry and, you know, immediately heat up that rivalry. I think that was pretty cool. Um we then had a vignette between you know, Jet Speed and was with Will Nightingale, and we also had FTR in this vignette as well. Kevin Knight challenged one of the members from FTR, and Stokely Hathaway, obviously speaking on behalf of FTR, accepted the challenge, but pretty much said you're not going to find out who it is until Saturday on Collision. So yeah, once Collision airs on Saturday with a special start time of 7 o'clock Eastern, I won't be watching Collision. I mentioned earlier I don't watch it. But Yeah, so it's gonna be Kevin Knight versus one member, either Dax Harwood or Cash Wheeler, or hell, maybe it's Stokely Hathaway he faces. But it's gonna be either Dax Harwood or Cash Wheeler on Collision. So yeah, that should be fun. Cool little vignette. Nothing else really to break down. Now we had the backstage segment that I was referring to not too long ago with Hangman Adam Page, with Renee Paquette. He officially challenged Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship. Um, he said he's more than happy to defend his AEW World Title against Samoa Joe if that's what all this is really about at Wrestle Dream in just a few weeks' time. I'm sorry, guys, my nose has been stuffy all day. I don't know what's going on. Um, but then we had Tony Storm defeating Tay Mello. After the match, Tony Storm said she is not finished with Chris Statlander, which makes sense. Even though Tony Storm got pinned, um, she's entitled to a rematch, right? After a long reign like that, it makes sense for them to go one-on-one for that title. And I think it's just ultimately going to be Chris Statlander retaining. It doesn't make sense to have Tony Storm win that title back after Chris just won it. I don't think that's the route AEW is going to take. I assume that they have bigger plans for Chris Statlander and her title reign, but the rematch makes sense. And I get, in a sense, it needed to happen, right? We then had what do we have after that? We had Samoa Joe accepting the challenge from Hangman Adam Page. He had a backstage interview with Renee Paquette, and he accepted the challenge from Hangman Adam Page, and he was heated. Powerhouse Hobbs was, trying to play mediator earlier in the night as well when the confrontation first happened, but it was not working. It's Samoa Joe after all. And when Samoa Joe's heated, you're not going to calm that man down. So yeah, that was that. And then after that, we had the tag team match. GOA, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona defeated the Swirl, Blake Christian, and Lee Johnson. This is a match I didn't pay much attention to either. I was listening to Ricochet on commentary, though, and he was absolutely fantastic. He even brought up like a little thing as soon as he got to the commentary desk. He's like, last time I was over there sitting next to Taz, a good friend of mine. Now I'm next to this idiot, Brian Danielson. I just found that funny. The little things like that I find funny when they bring it up like that. But yeah, I didn't pay too much attention to this match. I was focused on other things at the moment. I found those a little bit more important than this match. But from what I did see, this match was pretty decent. It wasn't terrible at all. These two teams are not terrible. They're both great wrestlers. So yeah, fun little match there. After the match, however, the Hurt Syndicate came out and MVP pretty much said he embarrassed himself at AEW All Out, and that he apologizes to Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, and he says he doesn't want to wrestle. He doesn't want a wrestling match. He doesn't want to hear a 3 count. But what he does want is he wants a no disqualification street fight match. Now, I've never heard the term no disqualification street fight, because no disqualification is no disqualification, and a street fight is the same thing as a no disqualification match. So I don't understand the point in putting more words in it to make it sound more fancy. Either way, it's going to be the Hurt Syndicate versus Ricochet and the GOA. The Demand is what they go by. I was trying to remember their entire name. I don't know why they just don't get announced as the Demand, and why they just get announced as Ricochet and GOA, even though they're called the Demand, and on all the match graphics they're the Demand. But it is what it is. That match is made official for next week in Jacksonville. Next week, by the way, AEW is going head-to-head with NXT because they are running it on a Tuesday. It is being called Title Tuesday. So that's going to be really interesting. I don't know how that's going to work for me coverage-wise, if I'm just going to cover one, or if I'm going to have to cover both, or if I have to watch one and then watch the other after. I don't know how this is going to work, guys. Because I'm just now taking in. They have Title Tuesday and NXT Showdown going head to head. So Next Tuesday is gonna be a busy night, guys. We got a lot of wrestling Tuesday night, so I have no idea how that's gonna work for me coverage wise, and how it's gonna work for like TikTok and TikTok Live and stuff like that. So I will figure all that out before the time comes. Especially when it comes to like the post show reviews and all that stuff. It's probably just gonna be a combined episode or something like that. Um, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the counter programming, man. I'm not. I've made that very clear before. I'm not a fan of it. But it is what it is. It's gonna continue to happen. Um, Backstage, Chris Statlander accepted the challenge from Tony Storm for Wrestle Dream, so that rematch is official. Was made official for Wrestle Dream. Tony Storm versus Chris Statlander in a rematch for the AEW Women's World Championship. Harley Cameron made an appearance in this interview as well, just again being her joyful, hilarious self. Yeah, she just came in to hype up Chris Statlander. Backstage as well, Don Callis challenged Brodito to a tag team match on behalf of Kazuchika Okada and Konosuke Takeshita. Konosuke Takeshita didn't look happy about this, and he made it clear. He's like, "You want me to tag with him?" And Okada was like, "Yeah, you're gonna tag with me." And that was the backstage segment. And then Don Callis was just like, "Oh no, everything's fine. We're gonna whoop Brodito." Yeah, the Don Callis family stuff is I don't want to say growing on me because it's always been pretty decent, but there was a point in time where it was kind of dying out. I'm like, okay, this isn't good. But they're adding new members now, man. Like they literally have a family. They literally have a family. They have so many people in this faction now, and yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see how this plays out and how the ultimate downfall of the down of the down of the Don Callis family is going to happen. Because uh yeah, this faction is huge. You got almost everybody in this faction. So I'm curious to see when that downfall of the Don Callis family is going to happen. It's probably not going to be for a long time. I can see people like Konosuke Takeshita being the first one to leave the group. Um, Obviously, Wardlow isn't there anymore. I can see Kyle Fletcher eventually turning babyface and leaving the group. But I think even that is something that's far down the road. Around the time of AEW All Out, I was thinking like, maybe we'll be closer to Kyle Fletcher babyface turn than we thought. But as the past couple weeks on Dynamite and Collision that I've seen, I'm like, okay, no, this is not. He's not turning babyface. Um, we then had the main event of the evening, a mixed tornado tag team match. Darby Allin and Chris Statlander took on the Death Riders, Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir. Darby Allin and Chris Statlander won this match. This was a fun match. This was such a good way to close out the show. All four of these competitors did their job. Darby Allin took some nasty bumps. Marina Shafir, oh my goodness, took such a nasty bump, and I've seen worse in professional wrestling. I have. We all have. We've seen worse in professional wrestling. But Marina Shafir took because she wrestles barefoot, and there were thumbtacks involved. Chris Statlander dropped her on her feet onto the thumbtacks, and oh man, I just got this weird feeling in my feet after I saw that. I was like, oh man, I could never take a bump like that. Um, Even when I was wrestling, even if I go back to wrestling, I'm never taking a bump like that. I don't wrestle barefoot, thankfully. So, but yeah, no, that's not happening. But yeah, good match and fun match all around. It was a fun way to end Dynamite, but it didn't end just there. After the match, Chris Statlander and Tony Storm had a brawl to the back. They had a bit of a stare down first, and then got into a brawl where security was trying to break it up. What's going on, Phoebe? How's your night going? Where they tried to break it up, and they went to the back. After that, Darby Allin continued the attack on Pac with a belt, but then not Pac, on Wheeler Yuta with the belt, debating if I want to order the AEW TNT Championship or the AEW World Championship. I say the AEW World Championship. I think that title looks really good. Like as a replica, Yeah, I'd want to have the AEW World Title over the TNT title in my room. Like if I were to just have like things, just like fancy things in my room, or if I wanted to decorate it a little more wrestling stuff instead of having Spider Man up there, um, I definitely go with the AEW World Title. That's a nice looking title to just have. I was planning on taking it everywhere. Is it an actual? Is it going to be an actual replica or like the toy replicas? Um, but yeah, this was a fun match, and yeah, after the match, Allen continued the attack on Wheeler Yuta, but then Pac came from behind and attacked Darby Allen. All I know is brass metal. Yeah, damn, it's gonna be rough. I still feel like the AEW World Title will still be cool to carry around. I like even though it's gonna be a little bit heavy, you can still carry it around. Like it looks cool. You'll look cool carrying it around. Um, but yeah. So Pac attacked Darby Allen, and then choked him out with a belt. John Moxley then came out as Darby Allen was getting choked out and pretty much said, "I am going to make you say I quit at Wrestle Dream. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I am going to make you say I quit." And that's how the show wrapped up. I've never even wore brass metal, and people say it's heavy. Yeah, it is. Brass metal is heavy. But you know what? It's worth it if you look cool, right? Um, just Aura Farm with the AEW World Title. There you go. Um, but that was AEW Dynamite for October 1st, 2025, the 6 year anniversary of AEW Dynamite. Let me know you guys' thoughts. I'm going to be live on TikTok for like a few minutes after I end this actual video. So everybody in the chat, let me know. I don't actually know how many people are in the chat because TikTok doesn't actually give me the exact number. Suitcase in hand and everything. Yeah. But yeah, everybody let me know what you thought about AEW Dynamite tonight if you checked it out. Um, yeah, this was a fun episode of AEW Dynamite. I enjoyed this for a 2.5 hour episode, and I won't lie. If you've been around here long enough, whether you watch my TikTok lives, whether you kind of missed it tonight, that's okay. That's okay. Whether you're on my TikTok lives consistently, whether you watch the podcast or listen to the podcast consistently, you know I'm lazy as hell. Might catch up tomorrow. Yeah, you definitely should. You definitely should. It's definitely worth watching back. But you know that I am lazy. You know that I am lazy. And when a show goes on too long and it's not good, um, it, it, I get really tired. I get really tired, and I'm like, oh man, like as much as I love this job, I'm like, ugh. But this episode of AEW Dynamite, 2.5 hours felt like nothing. This show flew by, and that's a good thing. If a show just flies by like that, you're having fun watching it. And I was having fun watching AEW Dynamite tonight. So kudos to them for putting together a good 6 year anniversary. Next week I was watching TNA and fell asleep after 2 matches. Yeah, TNA is look, I love the guys over in TNA, but yeah, some of the weekly shows are just not they're not good. It's like when something stupid happens on TNA, you're just like, oh well, that's TNA. Um, literally, that's what we say every time on the podcast. I'm like, well, that's TNA, which is kind of sad because TNA wasn't like that at one point in time. Um, but speaking of TNA, next week, like next Tuesday, like I mentioned, is going to be a hectic night because we have AEW Dynamite Title Tuesday and then NXT Showdown on the same night, guys. On the same night. I hate this counter programming. I hate everything about this counter programming stuff. Yeah, I just don't like it. It needs to stop. I know it won't, but I don't like it at all. But I'm still gonna cover it regardless. I'm still gonna cover both shows. I don't, like I said, I don't know how it's gonna work with being on live and everything like that. But yeah, between us, I'm only watching for Soul Rook and the Iconics. That's fair. That's fair. Um, like that's another thing. I'm gonna talk about this on the Headlines of the Week podcast this week. But yeah, and I know this is an AEW show, but Kalani Jordan on Team TNA, guys. I don't know how I feel about that one. I don't know how I feel about that one. Like I saw somebody say this, and it's a really good point, and it's something we've all been saying for a long time. It really looks like WWE is on the verge, or if not already, has bought in TNA. It's very possible that's the case. Um, But yeah, that was AEW Dynamite. I'm going to stay on TikTok live for a little bit, but I'm going to wrap up this podcast episode. If you stay to the end, thank you so much. But make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Spotify as well. If you're returning here, you know that these weekly show reviews are not on Spotify, only on YouTube, but everything else is on Spotify, so make sure you go ahead and check all those things out. Subscribe to the Kayfabe Central Ko-Fi page if you are able to. It is $5 minimum to subscribe to the exclusive wrestling content tier. Make sure you guys go ahead and check out the Kayfabe Central website as well. I just posted an article today about how the original WWE Invasion pay-per-view was a total disaster, and I broke everything down about that in light of next week being the NXT Showdown. So make sure you guys go check that out. That's also on the Kayfabe Central website, absolutely for free. So go check all that stuff out. All my links are in the description for my YouTube, guys. Make sure you guys go check out the TikToks. Make sure you can join in on the TikTok lives as well. Good thing I found you on my For You page, huh? We've got 3 mutuals. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, TikTok has a way of just bringing people together, especially in the wrestling community. I love it. I love the wrestling community on TikTok. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in to this AEW Dynamite post show review. I will be back on Friday for the Friday night SmackDown post show review. Unless I do one for TNA tomorrow. I might do one for TNA tomorrow. Because I have done that before. So I may or may not do a post-show review for TNA tomorrow, but it's likely I won't. Because I have stopped doing post-shows for NXT and TNA just because it is so much. Like, to do a post-show review every night for 5 days a week, guys, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So I haven't done the post-shows for NXT or TNA. So if I don't post one tomorrow, then you know that Josh got lazy and he decided not to. But I will definitely post my SmackDown post-show review. That for sure will be up after Friday Night SmackDown. I will be live on Friday on TikTok for a Friday Night SmackDown watch along. So make sure you guys join all of that up. Anybody who talks AEW and WWE, they'll instantly on top of my list. Well, that's good. I'm glad. There's been a lot of people that joined the live that don't watch like wrestling at all. And no, it's not the list of Jericho. Well, that's disappointing. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you guys tune in on Friday for the post-show review. Check out for the headlines of the week this week, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.